is Fernando David, and we're about 30 days for the end of 2020. And in this video, what I want to do is I want to walk you through the steps that I take to set my goals and create my game plan for the following year. In this case, it's going to be for 2021. And here's what I do to set myself up for success, right? Number one, there's 4 areas in which I always set goals for. These 4 areas change, but for me, for the last 4 years, they've been pretty consistent. But for you, you can either keep these 4, you can add your own 4, you can make it 5, 6, or you can only make it 2. But I like these 4. The 4 are health, family, income and wealth, and my businesses, right? These are the areas in which I focus on and I set goals for. So I use the month of December to reflect back and analyze what I did in 2020 that worked and what didn't work. And then I take that and I either make corrections or change for 2021. So the first thing I do is identify where I am today as it relates to these 4 areas. The second thing I do is I find out what my why is, right? I look to see what's going to motivate me to stay committed to my goals. It's important that you do that, and here's why that's important. 2020 was an eye-opener, or it came as a shock for many of you. If you did not have a strong why, and many in our industry, and I'm referring to those that are in the vacation rental industry, many folded. And the reason they folded is because they panicked and they didn't have a strong why, or their why didn't motivate them enough to keep moving forward, right? They were complacent. They heard the government shutting down travel. They put their hands up in the air and they said, I'm going to get my PPP money and I'm just going to sit here and wait. Well, I'm not that type of person. As soon as that happened, I panicked, but I panicked in a positive way, meaning the game plan that I had, I doubled it. So, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but just know you need to have a very strong why, something that's going to motivate you and keep you committed to your goals when shit goes downhill, right? When shit hits the fan, you need something that's going to keep you going. Number 2, you need to be specific with your goals. Here's what I mean by that, right? In 2020, in December of 2019, when I was preparing for 2020, I set some specific goals. Some of those goals included this, right? I wanted for 2020 to add 6 rental units in Palm Beach County to my portfolio that averaged an ROI of 10%, right? That's a specific goal. That's one of many that I had in terms of my business, right? So when you write your goals, you need to be specific like this. I'm going to give you another example of being specific as it relates to health. In 2019, I did a lot of traveling. There was a lot of stuff that I was doing in 2019. I've always been an active person, working out. It's never been a problem for me, but diet has. And in 2019, I was the heaviest I've ever been. So going into 2020, I set a goal for myself to be 160 pounds at a body fat of 18% or lower, right? That's being specific. I didn't write, I want to lose weight, right? It's not specific enough. I wrote the weight and specifically the body fat percentage that I wanted to be at. Here, I wrote the number of units that I wanted to add, where I wanted to add, and what type of return that I wanted. So you need to be specific with your goals. Number 4, you need to list 5 to 10 reasons as to why you must accomplish these goals. So I'm going to go back here, right? Some of the reasons that I wanted this specific number in this specific area, and that's specific ROI was the following. I wanted to hire more people to work in my property management company. I wanted to use the revenue in here to pay for that, also increase my profitability, right? Increase my income. In addition to that, another one of my goals here that was specific was to hit 6 million in sales, right? That was the reason, one of the reasons I wanted that was because another one of my goals was to increase my net worth to over 4 million, right? So you need to list reasons why you want this as a goal. You can't just write the goal. You gotta have a reason why you want that. That's going to help you stick with your why. It's going to keep you motivated to get there, right? And number 5, you need to create an action plan. Now that action plan, this is why it takes me the entire month of December to do this, because that action plan needs to be specific for each one of my areas. It needs to be specific for each one of my goals. So I'll give you an example here. I knew that in order for me to reach this, and I'm going to regress in a second, but I knew that in order for me to hit these numbers, I needed to do take a series of steps and actions to get there. Those steps included my contacts, right? I needed to, each and every day, I needed to get on the phone and talk to at least 20 potential prospects. I needed to make sure I was on my CRMs and my follow-ups. I needed to make sure that I was sending out the letters and emails in my follow-ups on a daily basis. I needed to make sure that I was writing a minimum of 20 contracts per week in order to get that, right? If you don't have those action plans in place to get here, you're not going to get there. You need steps, right? You need to be able to create a game plan on how to reach that. We all heard the saying, if you don't plan to fail. This is where it is critical. Your plan, your daily routine has to match your goals. Now, here's an interesting thing about your goals as well. Do not underestimate your capabilities or your capacity to reach your goals, right? Grant Cardone is famous for the 10X rule. Now, I'll be one to admit that I fall short in this as well. For example, in this year, I thought 6 rental units was aggressive. I thought hitting 6 million in sales was aggressive. The fact the pandemic hit and forced me to work harder to make sure I hit these numbers, I was able to do this and then some. So I'll give you an example. Instead of 6, I ended up with 22. Instead of 6 million in sales, I'm at 10.5, right? Far exceeded these numbers. So I bring that up because I don't want you to shortchange yourself. What if you, at the very beginning of the year, you said to yourself, I want to hit 10 million, right? But you end up with 6 million. Is that a failure? I don't think so, right? You're still, as long as you're taking these actionable steps and you do that each and every single day, make sure it's a habit, make sure it's a routine, make sure your actions match your goals. At the end of the day, whether you hit your mark or not, I think it's irrelevant, right? Because that's the purpose of that daily journal. So you can go back and look and to see, okay, you're in December, let's fast forward to December 2021. You can go ahead and look and say, okay, I did this worked, this didn't, I need to tweak this, I don't need to tweak that. But that's the purpose of this, because 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you're going to be able to fine tune this stuff like I did and get to your goals on a regular basis, or hit your goals on a regular basis. Hope this information was useful. If you have any questions, any comments, please do so below. Please subscribe, like, hit the notification button, and follow us on Instagram, and I'll see you in the next one.